Welcome to another episode of the Be Better podcast. My name is Harrison Orr, and I've coached close to 1,000 guys on helping them to optimize their health and their performance through looking at their stress and their nervous system and their sleep so that they can have the energy and the capacity to do more shit that they love in life, whether that's play with their kids or grow the business or just live life by their design rather than by default. I'm also the owner and creator of Primal Energies, which is brought to you Brain Juice, which is soon to become Australia's #1 coffee alternative. So thank you very much for listening and strap yourself in. Today I want to touch on the difference between what is optimal versus what is realistic, and especially when it comes to sleep and optimizing that, because this was evident for me a few years ago, but I got reminded of it last week when I was talking with a client who was having this struggle. Like, he's got the sleep routine, he knows what he wants to do, but him and his wife are on very different circadian rhythms. She's a general night owl, like won't go to sleep until 1 a.m. and he's very much a morning person. Like, he likes to be up by 5, 6 a.m. So there's a big difference. And it's not just simple as like, oh, come to bed earlier and I'll go to bed a little bit later and trying to work that out. They are very different in that strategy, in that rhythm. And not only that, but she isn't quite ready for that level of optimization when it comes to sleep. Not quite dedicated enough or interested enough really to going through those lengths of having a sleep routine and going through that, because most people, it's unless it's a problem, they're not willing to do much about it, right? For most people, it's so much easier for that last hour of bed to just scroll on your phone, to just watch TV, to just do these little things which can be relaxing. But there's more science starting to come out now that these things are kind of detrimental for our sleep when it comes to getting optimal quality of sleep. And for a lot of people, that first of all, that effect varies. Some people will be affected more than others, and others not so much. But then also, if you get used to a certain quality of sleep, you get used to waking up and being tired, and you don't really wake up until you've had your second cup of coffee at 10 a.m. or you just used to having brain fog, used to being lethargic, and you don't really train, or you don't have a reason to have exciting, boundless energy, then it's not as obvious and it's not as much of a problem then, because you get used to it, you don't have a reason really to change. So it puts us in a bit of a hard position. And so looking at some people when it comes to these routines and these habits, like obviously there's a difference between what is optimal, right? Like when we look at, we'll go the extremes, for example, say for optimal physical performance. You look at an athlete who has their entire life, all day, every day, dedicated to optimizing this performance. They have all the time in the world to optimize their sleep routine, to optimize their nutrition, to optimize their recovery, to optimize their training, to be able to spend 2 hours in the gym, to do everything almost by the textbook as to the current research, what is the highest ROI activity that you can be doing in terms of the timing, in terms of the dosage, in terms of like the activity, all that stuff. They have everything at their disposal to maximize that. And so when we try and bring some of that into regular life, for people that just love to train, want to be a little bit fitter, healthier, stronger, bigger, or leaner, but then also can't afford to spend 2 hours at the gym, can't afford to, sorry, I got a hair in my mouth, can't afford to, time-wise, like, go get a massage after training, go have a sauna, and then spend, 2 hours winding down before bed, prep every single meal or have it all fresh and do all kind of stuff like that. Like, we've got stuff to do, right? You got to get to work. You can't have the most optimal warm up and allow all that time to prep yourself for the lift or for the session, and then have adequate recovery throughout the day in terms of mobility or other protocols that might be helpful. And then also for a lot of people financially, whether it's something like amino acids or certain supplements or certain things that might enhance those performances, those recovery markers, but it just doesn't make sense for a lot of people, because of all the things that we could be doing, those things might be like the tiny couple of percent. And so for athletes, people like that who've maximized every other, the big levers, and they're at that point where, a 1% is a big shift, A lot of other people where we don't have those resources, that 1% is like, well, I've got five other things that I should maximize before I get to that point. And so for a lot of people, that comes down to sleep. And so if we're not getting adequate sleep or optimal quality of sleep, then it's not just physical performance, but like our mental performance, our mood, our sex drive, our enjoyment in life, like our drive, our discipline, everything is affected. Our longevity as well. We age faster. We've been shown to eat more as well. For people that sleep less, get less sleep, they eat on average about 150 to 200. I feel like it was more than that, but that's what I'll say for now. Calories per day, because naturally, two of the sources that we get energy from, sleep and food. If we're not getting enough sleep, our body's like, well, I got to get it from somewhere. Give me those snacks. Give me that sugar. And so then we look for those things. But then again, when we look at a lot of the research, you look at what is optimal for sleep, you're like, man, I've got stuff to do. It's hard to work that in. For a lot of people that get home later, or they've got kids, or they've got things to do like that, then it can be really hard to fit all that in. And so, like, I was looking at, I forget what this guy's name was, Ollie someone, this like Swedish biohacker. And this dude basically started his sleep routine at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Like he spent 5-6 hours prepping for bed. I think there was even like a sauna in there. There was like all this extreme stuff. And I just thought, wow, like how much of your life do you spend prepping for sleep? Like, and how does that improve the quality of your sleep? Like if in your sleep, you're having these lucid dreams where you're like off on this other planet doing these main quests and like doing all this other cool shit, figuring out all these problems and just doing stuff in there that you couldn't do in reality in your waking day. That's pretty cool. Like I could maybe justify it then, but then the amount of time that you spend prepping for bed, like what is the return on investment at that point? Like, is it actually worth it? Is it going to extend your life by that much? And how much are you missing out on? And so something to keep in mind when, you might see people talk about these optimal routines or habits and things like that. It's like, how do we make sure that it fits in for us and that it's not such a chore, that it actually works in with our lifestyle? Because sure, there's so many things that would be more optimal to do, but maybe they're not realistic because of time constraints, because of financial factors, because we just don't like it, or whatever else. And so, I've had to compromise a little bit on this myself. I know my wife always makes this joke of like a lot of the clients she talks to about all the weird shit that I do, right? If it was up to me, after 6 p.m, we would have no lights on. We'd have our rock salt lamps on. We'd have barely any light, and we would just like wear our blue light blocking glasses, no screens, and that would be the evening. We'd go through whatever we need to do in barely any light, which frustrates the hell out of her. And it gets to a point sometimes where you got to compromise, right? Again, like even if you listen to, say, Matt Walker, one of the biggest reasons that he says a lot of people end up getting divorced is because it stems from like their poor sleep. Because one person snores, or they've got differing sleep routines or sleep qualities, and if one person is not getting adequate sleep, then they're grumpier, they're moodier, they're not living their best life. Or, for women, their sex drive goes down 13% for every hour less that they get of sleep. Right? And so the inverse is the inverse works as well. So for guys, if you want your missus to have a higher sex drive and she's not getting enough sleep, help her to get more sleep. For every hour extra of sleep that she gets, her sex drive will increase by 13%. Keep in mind that the women's Viagra, I think, increases by like 22 to 23%. You're getting more than half of that just by getting more sleep. And there's a hell of a lot more benefits to getting extra sleep as well than just taking that little pill. So it's not only up to, obviously the woman to say, like, for you to say as the man, hey, get more sleep, you need to be doing this. How do we help that? If there's things that need to, if the reason that she's staying up or that we are staying up is because the kitchen's dirty, because there's chores that need to be done, because the things need to be prepped or organized for the next day, or, there's running around, there's these jobs that need to be done. Cool. Teamwork. Get them done earlier. Back plan your day. One of the things that I like to do, which has been really helpful for myself and for my clients, is working backwards, like starting my calendar and planning from my sleep time. Because the quality of my work and my performance today is dictated by my sleep. And my sleep is dictated by how well I prepare for sleep, right? And so really my prep for today starts with my evening routine yesterday. And so, working that backwards of cool, what time do I want to go to sleep? Okay, well, I need to eat ideally at least 2 hours before then. Okay, cool. So that gets me to this time. Or how do I need to cook dinner, or do I have it prepped? All right, well, if I don't have it cooked, what time do I need to start cooking? I need to start cooking at this time. All right, and then so working backwards allows me to then map out the other things. Like, okay, well, I can do this one in the meantime. That doesn't need to be done before that. Okay, well, I can do that one before that. Like, so for example, okay, well, I can clean up the house and prep for tomorrow after I've eaten. Walking around, moving is going to help me digest my food. Awesome. I can put my blue light blocking glasses on while I'm doing all that as well. Great. Okay, I can prep my son for bed after that as well. If I can eat with him, which is even better, then we all eat together. I eat even that little bit earlier, and it's again multitasking, making life so much easier so it's in sync rather than being disjointed of, oh, now I've got to do me, now I've got to do him, now I've got to do this, now I've got to do that. And so when it comes to finding that optimal routine for you, figure out how much, obviously, I know we have to factor in our partners and things like that, but if we're both on board with this, like why it makes sense for both of us to do this. Because we want to live longer. We want to have a better sex life. We both want to be physically and mentally healthier. We both want to get stronger or lose weight. Like there are all these benefits. And then also for a lot of women, some of those things may not be a big mover, but you age a hell of a lot faster if you do not get enough sleep. The bags under your eyes, is a big factor, right? So you can be more naturally beautiful. You can be beautiful for longer if you're getting better sleep. They did this study as well, and they compared people that had gotten a good night's sleep and people that looked tired. They have got that drained look, the red eyes, the puffy, dark bags under their eyes as well. And I forget the exact number. I'm pretty sure it was like 30 or 40%. But they found that people that look tired are 30 to 40%, or whatever the number was, less attractive than people that look well rested. So when we look tired, we look sick, we look unhealthy, we look less attractive. And so if you want the inverse, if you want to be beautiful, if you want to look healthy, if you want to be vibrant, if you want to have energy, if you want to look like that as well, not just feel like it, get quality sleep. Easy. And so if that's a good driver for you, then use that, guys or females, to help to find a reason to get that better sleep. And so easy things that you can do, the easy things that I've found that really help my sleep, that you can do whether your partner is on board or not. Blue light blocking glasses. Absolute game changer. Go to blockbluelight.com and get the darkest ones you can. There's the red or the dark orange ones. They will block out the most blue light. The yellow ones are more for like early in the afternoon. The clear ones, they only block about 30 to 40%. So they do something, but not as much as you want at that time of night. That's going to massively help. As much as you can, shut off, turn off the lights or turn down the lights, because lights have lights work three ways when it comes to its effect on our brain and our circadian rhythm. So there's the position of the light, right? Whether it's in terms of our eye line, whether it's below, in line, or above our eye line, and then the brightness of the light, obviously, and then the wavelength of the light. So in the middle of the day, it's when it's blue light, it's clear, sky is blue, or it's at the sunset is the yellow, reds, orange tinges. And so the blue light, which tells our brain it's daytime, it's time to be alert, it's time to be awake, don't go to sleep now, don't release melatonin, don't wind down for bed because we've got shit to do, right? Daytime, beautiful. That's what we want, that's what we need. But artificial lights also release blue light. Screens also release blue light. All screens. Doesn't matter if it's your phone, your laptop, your TV, like tablet, all that stuff. And so that's why we want to block that out, because internally, if we can have the signals that tell our brain, hey, it's nighttime, it's start to wind down for bed, start to get ready for bed, before we actually get into bed, it will make it so much easier. Because when you go against biology, you will lose, hands down, every single time. So we want biology on our side. We want those little mechanisms to say like, hey, it's getting ready for bed, it's time to go to bed. So then when you finally get into bed, turn the lights off, it's so much easier to go to sleep. Because it's kind of like if you've got your laptop, right? If you actually turn it off before you close the screen, it's going to be well off and you close the screen, it's done, right? But if you just close the screen and don't actually turn it off, everything is still running. And everything running is your brain. So even though you've just turned the lights off, your brain is still in gear for daytime getting shit done. It's going to be thinking about all the stuff you need to do, all the stuff that you haven't done, any traumatic events or emotional events that maybe you didn't handle well or that's stressing you out, that linger in your mind. And it's going to take you a lot longer to get to bed. And then that cascade affects the cadence of your sleep cycles and all those other effects, and then you just wake up grumpy and tired and brain foggy the next day, and it's not fun, right? We want to be able to get to bed and then within 5 to 10 minutes fall asleep. That's a sign of a healthy circadian rhythm, and you're in sync with your body clock. If you're getting to bed and you're just so exhausted that you pass the fuck out, cool. Maybe you're overexerting yourself that little too much. But then also, if you're waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, then you're probably more stressed out, maybe had some caffeine later in the day, things like that, not ideal as well. Or if you're taking too long to get to sleep, then there's something else going on there as well. Maybe you haven't wound down, maybe you have too much caffeine, maybe you ate too late in the night as well, before bed's keeping you up. So there's all these little factors. And so I want to be able to give you guys the routine that I suggest to all my clients that works amazing for me, that requires very little change in life, right? Because I want this to be super easy that you can implement. And so, first of all, if you actually want a written version of this, I've just started a school academy that's free right now. You can jump into that. We're called Primal Society Academy. That'll be free for now, but otherwise, eventually it will be paid. But for anyone on a subscription with Primal Energies, it'll be absolutely free forever, as my attempt to provide more value to you guys, because the better you feel and perform, then the better we all live, right? That's what I want to see people doing, is just living their best life at their fullest potential. And so what this checklist looks like, again, working backwards. And we'll start with the evening routine, because we can go all the way back to sunlight in the morning and, optimizing it throughout the day. But let's start with the evening. So first of all, meal times. Having that last meal at least 2 hours before bed. If you can do it 2.5, 3 hours before bed, even better, but at least 2 hours before bed. Basically because digestion takes a lot of resources from our brain, from our body, right? When we're upright, we have the aid of gravity pushing everything, forcing everything down, and our body just needs to churn things up and push it through, groovy. But when we go and lie down and we've got food in our stomach that we haven't digested yet, it then manually has to churn, work harder to push that through our digestive tract and then break it down and push it through, which, because that requires effort, requires blood flow, keeps our heart rate elevated. And when our heart rate's elevated, we can't go into a deep night's sleep. And so the longer it takes our body to digest that food for our heart rate to lower, the longer it's going to take us to get into that deep sleep, which means the longer it's going to take us to be able to get any REM sleep. And so you keep pushing that further and further back. And then eventually, unless you extend your wake time by that same factor, even then it's probably not going to be ideal, but you're going to get less REM sleep, so your brain's going to be foggy, it won't have cleared out all that metabolic waste from the day before, and you're just not going to get a good enough sleep. And so if we can have that meal earlier, bonus points if you can go for a 5-10 minute walk after you eat, because that's great for your body's metabolizing or breaking down the blood sugar, leveling that out after a meal, any meal. But then also the walking, side to side, helps to churn up that food as well, and it's going to speed up that digestive process. So also, it's time off screens, it's time outside, take your partner, take your dog, take your cat, or whatever you got. And that can be really helpful. Also, another great wind down routine as well. So having that meal. Then popping on your blue light blocking glasses. So this is about 90 minutes to 2 hours before bed, popping those on. If you've got the capacity, depending on your day, I know there's always different seasons in life where sometimes you're in your grind era where you're just working, and you've got shit to do. Cool. Wear your blue light blocking and you're on screens. Wear your blue light blocking glasses. Use, I think, what's it called? I think the one I've got is called Lux. It's an app on your laptop or your computer where you can set it to sync with the rising and setting of the sun in your time zone, and when the sun sets, essentially it will go into orange mode, or like night mode, which will reduce some of the blue light. Not all of it, but it's better than having it full bright and in your face. So ideal is no screens. Second best is blue light blocking glasses and the screen filter. Third best is at least one of those, right? Even on your phone, you can go to the color scale mode and set it to orange, red, stuff like that. If you go to my Instagram and scroll back a fair bit, then I filmed a screen recording of how to set that, and then also how to set that as a trigger. So like if I press my lock screen 3 times, it'll automatically go to that, and then 3 times again and it comes off. That can be really handy as well. So again, sun goes down, you put that on, and then ideally you don't have your phone next to you when you sleep, and use some other method to kind of wake up. But I know that's not feasible for everyone for various reasons, but even if you do need to check your phone during the night or for whatever reason, then having that on is going to reduce some of that screen exposure, that blue light, right? So you've eaten dinner early, you've got the blue light blocking glasses on, and hopefully you're off screens, and use this time to do something that doesn't require screens. If you've got chores to do, cool. Iron the clothes, clean the kitchen, prep everything for tomorrow, get that sorted, done. And then find a bit of time to actually unwind or relax. Whether that's something that you like to do with a bit of movement, a bit of physicality. Maybe you like to move your body, maybe you like to do some yoga or some mobility, maybe you like to give your partner a massage, find that time to connect, or you guys can go and take a bath, do something sensual, do something like connecting. Or if you've got a lot on your plate mentally, maybe you've got a big decision to make, maybe something has happened that's kind of playing on your mind a lot and stressing you out, and you just need to process it. Cool. Sit with it, or find a method that allows you to unwind your mind. For some people, that's going to be meditation. For some people, that's going to be journaling. For some people, that's going to be talking to their partner or venting, which I'd like to keep a cap on that a little bit. You don't want your partner to be your vent buddy where you just word vomit all your emotions and shit and project that onto them, because that can be really hard, especially if you're going through a lot. You want your partner to obviously understand where you're at and what you're feeling, but you don't want them to have to cop the brunt of that, right? So find that practice that works for you. For me personally, it's journaling for a couple of reasons. First of all, it allows me to get everything out of my brain onto a paper, right? So which allows me to then, cool, if part of that is action items that I need to do for tomorrow, I can write those down, add them into my calendar, and put them there so I won't forget them. So I can close that loop. Right? I don't have that thing in my saying, don't forget to email this person, don't forget to do that, don't forget to do this. Cool, I've closed that loop. I'm not relying on my memory. It's done. I'll see it tomorrow when I can action it. But then also, writing things down forces my brain to slow down, because I can't write as fast as I can think. I don't know about you, but my hand does not move that fast. So it forces me to actually think about the words and the questions that I'm asking myself, the things that I'm saying to myself, my thoughts. And in that slower analysis of those thoughts, of those words, you can bring a bit more consciousness to them. Is that really going to happen? Is that really true? Are you overreacting just a little bit? What's the feasibility of that happening? Is that really a problem? Or, what can we actually do about it? Because when we're in that what if train, we're just, if this happens and that happens, and we go down that spiral and playing things out, it becomes stressful, it becomes overwhelming, we get riddled with anxiety, and then we're very high on emotion. And so when we're high on emotion, our IQ goes down. So regardless of the emotion, whether it's lust or excitement or anger or frustration or depression or anxiety, when we're high on that emotion, we're not thinking very logically. That's why people don't make the best decisions when they're in that state. And so if you're in that state, if we can level that out a little bit, bring it back down to that neutral state where we can bring a little bit more logic into the equation of, well, what can I do about it? Is it something that I can control, first of all? Stressing about a lot of things in life, be it other people or government or situations that we can't control. Like, yes, those things can be stressful, but at the same time, what can we do about it? Like, what can I actively do about this right now? Well, I can't control the person. I can't control that event because it's either happened or it's just outside of my control. But I can control my emotions and my actions. So what am I going to do about it? Focus on those things, because otherwise we end up in this spiral that we can't control, and it's not helpful. And then we can move forward with that. That, I find, provides a lot of clarity for a lot of people, because if you can find action of like, what am I going to do about it? It changes the situation, because then you either progress out of the problem, or you get new information or new feedback as to what you can do about it. Either way, you're out of the current situation, because it's not helpful where you're at right now. It's not serving you. And so finding that unwind for your mind session, again, whether it's meditation, journaling, a walk, whatever. Find something that works for you. Having your hot shower or your bath, whatever you have, prepping your sleep environment dark and cool is ideal. So if you don't have aircon or don't have a 8 sleep or any of those fancy mattress toppers that cool the bed for you, having a hot shower before bed can be really helpful, because your body's naturally going to want to cool its core temperature if you're having a hot shower, and your body only needs to drop by about a degree to get into a deep night's sleep. So that can be really helpful as well in getting that deep night's sleep. I know I've seen some people talk about wearing socks while you're sleeping as well. That can help that. I'm not exactly sure the mechanism of that, but obviously sleeping naked really helps. Your partner's probably going to like that as well. Using or making sure that either your pajamas, if you're wearing them, but at least your linen and your pillows, things like that, are of the right material. Probably don't wear, thick, don't use thick linen, doonas, things like that in summer. Silk, bamboo, breathable material, light stuff like that. And that's it. Personally, I like to wear a eye mask as well. I've got this nice silk one that wraps around and also covers my ears, so it also provides a bit of noise cancellation, which is really handy. So I know that can be very, very helpful. I know my missus hates it because a lot of the time I sleep through through our son waking up, so she has to get up for him. But it works for me. It keeps me asleep, both from blocking out the light, blocking out a lot of the sound as well. And if you're a mouth breather, getting some tape can be massively helpful as well. So it's not like duct tape. It's not going to force your lips closed so you absolutely can't breathe out of your mouth, but it provides just a cue. So you get the micropore tape from your chemist, cost you $2 or $3, and a small strip of that across your lips, and it just provides a cue to keep your lips closed, to force your mouth, to force you to breathe through your nose, which is going to emphasize your engagement of the parasympathetic system, which is our rest and digest state. So we get more oxygen in, it keeps us nice and calm, and there's just so many more benefits to that. If you're unfamiliar with the benefits of breathing through your nose and into your diaphragm, and like just the consequences of that, and you're interested in that, I highly recommend a book called Breathe by James Nestor. Really good book, really informative as well. He, in that, talks about mouth taping. Both, I think he did an experiment like taping it while he was exercising as well. But then also you can even get nose strips as well, which if you have issues with your nasal canals, can help to expand those. So you can either get nasal dilators, which are these little circles that help to expand your nostrils, or you can get this strip that kind of goes over your nose, and again, same kind of process. So if you're going to sleep, so it's not like anyone's going to see you anyway, but I highly recommend trying those, because if you can get more air in, it is going to be a game changer for you. not just for your sleep, but for your mental health, for your physical health, because the oxygen and air is the only thing that we can't go more than a couple minutes without. Water, yeah, we can go a while. Food, even longer. Like everything else, pretty long. The two things that we can't go more than a day, we can't go very long without, is air and sleep. Everything else is cool. We can get it eventually, but it's not going to kill us right away. That will. So the more of that you can get, then the better. And so I hope that's helpful. To wrap that up, sleep routine is eat 2 hours before bed. Blue light blocking glasses, turn your screens to night mode, to red or orange shade as well. Unwind your mind or de-stress your physical state. If you want to do mobility or yoga or anything like that, then unwind your mind. Hot shower or hot bath, and get into your dark, cool room and have a good night. And with that, I bid you good night, my friends. If this has been helpful, please share it with a friend that wants to improve their sleep. Share it with a partner if you want them to start to be more conscious around the benefits of improving their sleep and you guys want to start on this routine together. Like always, if you have feedback or love this, I'd love to hear from you. Jump on the links in the show notes below this. You can reach out via Instagram and I'd love to see you there. I'll also put the link for the Skool Academy in there as well if you want to jump on that and have the written version of this sleep routine and more information about that. Otherwise, have an amazing day. See you soon.